Welcome to this evidence-based look at betaine. Today we will examine whether this ingredient, which has gained popularity in sports nutrition and hydration products, is a legitimate performance booster or simply a marketing fad. We will analyze the mechanisms by which betaine might work, review the human studies that have tested it, and ultimately help you decide if it deserves a place in your supplement routine. Walk into any supplement shop and you will see betaine listed on a range of products from pre-workouts to hydration drinks. The idea is that betaine will enhance training capacity, power, or endurance. But marketing claims do not always align with scientific reality. In this presentation, we will dig beneath the labels to find out whether these claims are justified. On paper, betaine has a number of interesting properties that could support performance. It acts as an osmolyte, helping cells maintain hydration and stability, and as a methyl donor in metabolic pathways linked to creatine and carnitine synthesis. Yet the research that has tested these mechanisms in humans often produces inconsistent or modest outcomes. Our goal is to tease apart the theoretical promise from the actual evidence. Betaine, also known as trimethylglycine, is a naturally occurring compound originally isolated from sugar beets. It is found in foods such as beets, spinach, shellfish, and wheat, and humans synthesize it in the liver and kidneys. Structurally, betaine is a neutral molecule with both positive and negative charges, making it a zwitterion. In the body, betaine acts as a methyl donor and an osmolyte, which underpins its potential uses in performance nutrition. One key role of betaine is to act as an osmolyte. This means it helps cells maintain proper hydration and volume, even under conditions of heat stress or dehydration. By stabilizing proteins and preserving enzymatic structures, betaine may protect muscle cells from the metabolic stress associated with heavy training. Maintaining cellular hydration is essential for muscle function and may support recovery during intense exercise. Betaine also donates methyl groups to homocysteine to form methionine. This process supports the synthesis of S-adenosyl methionine, a key methyl donor involved in many biochemical pathways. S-adenosyl methionine is required for producing compounds like creatine and carnitine. Because creatine plays a central role in rapid ATP regeneration, the link between betaine and methionine has led some to propose that it could enhance strength or power. However, evidence for this outcome is scarce in human studies. From a mechanistic viewpoint, betaine's ability to act as an organic osmolyte is appealing. By maintaining hydration and cell volume under conditions of heat and stress, betaine could theoretically support higher training volumes and delay fatigue. A well-hydrated muscle cell is better able to handle metabolic byproducts and maintain performance. These ideas help explain why betaine is often included in formulas aimed at improving endurance or strength. Betaine's role as a methyl donor links it to the production of creatine, which boosts phosphocreatine stores and ATP regeneration in muscle. In theory, increasing methyl donation through betaine supplementation could enhance creatine synthesis. However, the only human study that measured muscle creatine after betaine supplementation found no increase. This suggests that the creatine connection remains theoretical, and betaine does not substitute for direct creatine supplementation. Betaine has shown other effects in laboratory studies. Some experiments suggest it may stimulate muscle differentiation and hypertrophy and act as an anti-inflammatory and antioxidant agent. These observations come mostly from cell culture or animal models and have not been robustly replicated in athletes. As such, these proposed benefits should be considered speculative until stronger human evidence emerges. In summary, betaine's mechanistic appeal rests on two foundations. It preserves cellular hydration as an osmolyte and donates methyl groups to metabolic pathways that could support creatine and carnitine synthesis. Additional laboratory findings hint at anti-inflammatory effects and improved training volume. But when we look at human performance studies, the link between these mechanisms and tangible improvements is mixed. Mechanisms alone are not enough to justify supplementation. Some human trials have evaluated betaine's effects on power. In one study, participants took 1.25 grams of betaine twice daily for 14 days. Results showed increases in bench throw power and isometric bench press force, and vertical jump power improved, though jump squat power did not. The benefits were more noticeable in exercises involving smaller upper body muscles. While promising, these findings come from a short study and may not generalize to all athletes. Another 2-week study used the same 1.25 gram twice daily dosing. In this trial, betaine increased squat repetitions at 90% of 1 rep max and enhanced peak and mean power during the exercise. However, there were no differences in bench press repetitions, wingate power, vertical jump, or bench throw performance. The results suggest that betaine might support lower body endurance under heavy loads, but its effects on explosive power are less clear. A meta-analysis, pooling multiple studies, found a modest benefit for lower body strength, but inconsistent effects on power and endurance. The researchers noted high variability across studies in terms of design and participant characteristics, which makes it difficult to draw definitive conclusions. Overall, the evidence points to small situational improvements rather than broad performance gains. When interpreting the betaine literature, several limitations stand out. Many studies involve fewer than 30 participants, limiting statistical power. Interventions are typically short, lasting from 7 to 28 days, and protocols vary widely. Participants may be trained or recreationally active, adding further variability. High heterogeneity and potential bias make it difficult to generalize findings. Importantly, many tests show no improvement at all, highlighting that betaine is not universally effective. Endurance research on betaine is sparse. A recent review identified only 5 studies that met inclusion criteria. 2 of these showed interaction effects on maximal oxygen uptake and mean wing gait power, while 2 others reported main effects on power or oxygen consumption. One study found lower oxygen consumption and blood lactate after betaine supplementation. However, all of these studies were rated as having a high risk of bias and produced inconsistent outcomes. Thus, any endurance benefit remains speculative. Few trials have measured the effect of betaine on aerobic capacity directly. Some studies report increases in estimated maximal oxygen uptake, but results vary and are not consistent across participants or protocols. Because of the limited data and mixed findings, it is difficult to conclude that betaine meaningfully enhances aerobic capacity in humans. Scientists have proposed several ways betaine might influence endurance at a cellular level. The electrophilic methyl group could help regenerate nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide from its reduced form, supporting ATP production. Betaine may upregulate cytochrome C oxidase activity and mitochondrial function. It could also enhance lactate oxidation and protect enzymes in the citric acid cycle. These theories are derived mainly from cell culture and animal work, and have yet to be rigorously tested in athletic populations. Across the betaine literature, common limitations include small sample sizes, intervention lengths ranging from 7 to 98 days, and diverse participant profiles, from untrained individuals to elite athletes. Performance tests also vary, including bench press, squat, cycling, and jumping assessments. Some analyses find improvements only after excluding lower quality studies. This heterogeneity makes it challenging to interpret overall results and means that any benefit may depend on the specific context of the study. When comparing betaine with creatine, the differences are stark. Creatine has a robust evidence base demonstrating increases in strength, power, and lean mass across many populations. Betaine shows modest benefits limited to certain tests and often only in lower body strength. Only one study has looked at muscle creatine levels following betaine supplementation and found no change, so betaine cannot replace creatine. At best, betaine might act as a complementary experiment alongside proven supplements. When evaluating the strength of the evidence, lower body maximal strength receives the most support, though the effect is still modest. Evidence for improvements in power output is weaker, and the data for endurance are very limited. Visual representations using filled and empty stars often summarize this hierarchy of evidence. Remember that the few filled stars do not mean dramatic gains. They indicate that the effect, if present, is small. Most research uses around 2.5 grams of betaine per day, typically taken as 1.25 grams twice daily. Studies range from 2 to 6 grams per day, with durations between 1 and 14 weeks. Consistency is important. Benefits, when they appear, occur after at least 1 to 2 weeks of daily use. To ensure you know how much you are taking, choose products that clearly state the dose and avoid proprietary blends that hide ingredient amounts. Although betaine is naturally found in foods like beets, spinach, shellfish, and wheat, the quantities are small compared with a 2.5 gram supplement dose. Typical dietary intake ranges from 1/10 of a gram to 1 gram per day. To reach the levels used in research, supplementation is necessary. These foods still contribute valuable nutrients and can be part of a balanced diet, but they will not provide performance level amounts of betaine on their own. If you decide to supplement, split the daily dose into 2 servings of around 1.25 grams, 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. Betaine can be taken with or without food, depending on your preference. Allow at least 7 to 14 days before expecting any potential benefits. Combine betaine with solid training, adequate nutrition, and proven supplements like creatine. Without a strong training and recovery foundation, betaine will not provide measurable gains. Betaine is best suited for experienced lifters or athletes who are already covering the basics and seeking marginal improvements. Those performing high-intensity, high-volume training may notice a small boost. It also appeals to individuals willing to track their progress closely to determine whether it works for them. Conversely, beginners or people who have not yet established consistent training and nutrition habits are unlikely to benefit. People looking for dramatic strength gains or who are skipping creatine should not expect much from betaine. In addition, athletes with limited supplement budgets might allocate funds more effectively toward better supported options. Several myths surround betaine. One common misconception is that betaine produces results comparable to creatine. In reality, creatine's effects are far better supported. Another myth is that betaine drastically increases muscle creatine levels, but studies have not shown this. Some people think of betaine as essential for hydration, yet many other factors determine cellular hydration. The facts are that betaine acts as an osmolyte and methyl donor, may modestly improve lower body strength, and supports a theoretical link to creatine production, but its overall impact is small. Understanding these distinctions helps set realistic expectations. After weighing the mechanisms and evidence, betaine appears to be an interesting but optional supplement. It has sound biochemical roles as a cell protector and methyl donor, and some human studies show modest improvements in lower body strength. However, results for power and endurance are inconsistent, and benefits may depend on individual training status and program design. Creatine remains the superior strength supplement with clear benefits. For most athletes, betaine is an experiment rather than a necessity. To summarize, betaine originates from foods like beets, spinach, wheat, and shellfish. It functions in the body as an osmolyte and methyl donor, supporting hydration and methylation processes. It may improve lower body strength slightly, but evidence for power and endurance is weak. A typical dose is about 2.5 grams per day, and consumers should avoid proprietary blends and unrealistic expectations. Think of betaine as an experimental add-on to an already solid training and nutrition plan, not a guaranteed performance booster. At recommended doses of 2 to 6 grams per day. Betaine is generally considered safe. Human studies have not reported major adverse events. Some users may experience mild gastrointestinal discomfort, especially at higher intakes. As with any supplement, consult a healthcare professional if you have kidney issues or take other medications and supplements. Monitoring how you feel and starting with a lower dose can help ensure tolerance. In closing, supplements like betaine are tools that may offer small advantages when used thoughtfully. They should never replace the foundations of smart training, good nutrition, and adequate recovery. Use the available evidence to guide your choices and experiment responsibly. At AOF Supplements, transparency about what works and what doesn't is part of our ethos, and we encourage you to make informed decisions based on science rather than hype.